What's going on, guys, and welcome back to F1 22 for My Team Career Mode Season 3, Round number 1, the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's the first race of Season 3, and as we have a look at the R&D, we had a look at this in the preseason video, but just for a little reminder, Red Bull and Ferrari still the teams at the top. Then you've got Mercedes and Alpine right there very close to each other for 3rd and 4th, and then we are just ahead of McLaren, behind in 5th and 6th, so could be a decent battle here between these top teams, and I guess McLaren is the main rival for us this season, or at least at the early part of this season, as we go in Q1 here. And to be honest, the car didn't feel that great in qualifying. I'm gonna be honest, a little bit disappointed really, because didn't have a regulation change at the end of last season, so we've actually only made improvements, or should have been improvements and upgrades on the car going into Season 3 with no regulation change. The only big change I guess we have made is the engine. We're now running a Renault engine instead of a Ferrari engine from last season. But I don't know, our pace doesn't seem great. We end up P11 for Norris and P13 for us. We're about a 10th or 2 down, I think just a 10th down on Norris in the end. So although it doesn't feel great, we're about there with our teammates, so I guess it might just be the pace of the car. And as we go into Q2 here, once again, we still struggled quite a bit once again here. Just didn't seem to like the way the car was driving, was really not loving the curbs. Yeah, just also had some ERS issues. Remember back in Monza last season we had that issue where the ERS for some reason wasn't deploying properly while we were in qualifying. Seemed to have that a little bit here, not quite to the extent that I did in Monza where it pretty much wasn't deploying at all, but I think it was in Q1, and I might have had a moment in Q2 as well. When we come up to this straight that we're just coming to now, you come around this left hand downhill corner, one of the most tricky corners on the circuit. On this straight here I had a couple of instances where the ERS just wasn't deploying properly, and I lost like 3 or 4 tenths just on that straight at one point. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's a game glitch or if it's a car glitch, because I never had anything over the radio saying, hey, you've got an ERS issue or a power issue or a fuel issue or whatever. I mean, I've got plenty of fuel at this point. Well, I say plenty. I've got enough to get me to the end anyway. So yeah, don't really know what that was all about. I hope it's not a game glitch, or if it is, please, EA, Codemasters, fix that, because it could be a big issue if it is a game glitch. Unfortunately, neither of us get through to Q2, despite being supposedly the 5th quickest car on paper and beating Latifi in the Alpine quite convincingly. Norris is P11, we're P12. Looks like our car just doesn't have good pace at this track. Maybe though we'll have better race pace and quali pace. We'll have to find out in the race.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal, and it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship. We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And a very happy Carlos Sainz will start 2nd. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Stroll, Valtteri Bottas and Ricciardo, Russell, Ocon, Hamilton and Pierre Gasly, Norris, Shaw, Alex Albon and Magnussen, Tsunoda, Latifi, Mick Schumacher and Daniel Ticktum, Joe, Schwartzman, Vettel and Liam Lawson. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as once again we get another year of Formula 1 underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice. They've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
Okay, so P11 and 12 on the grid for TGL Motorsport. I mean, I guess it's about where we would expect to be. Like I said, we are pretty much on top of McLaren. We're pretty much level with them on R&D, and they've put out a great performance here. P5 and 6 on the grid for Bottas and Ricciardo. Great work from them. We've of course beaten Latifi in the Alpine, which should be quicker than ours, but Gasly has beaten us though, up in P10, both of us. So a good result from him in the AlphaTauri. Maybe he'll show a bit more pace this season than he did last season, because the AlphaTauri didn't seem to be great last season, but also Gasly didn't seem as good as I kind of expected of him. So let's see what happens in the Bahrain Grand Prix at the start of Season 3. Lights out and away we go. It's an okay initial getaway from us. Massive dive for Kevin Magnussen. He's on the soft tyres, so he gets a great run and goes up the inside of a couple of cars, and now we're going to go up the inside of him, a bunch of cars, find ourselves alongside Esteban Ocon as we come through turn 2, around then turn 3, and we're just about ahead of him, but now Lewis Hamilton gets the better run out of turn 3 and is going to be alongside us going into now turn 4, and he's just about going to stay there on the inside. We're going to try and keep it round the outside, deploy a little bit of ERS, and that will keep us ahead for now. But there are quick cars behind on the soft tyres. The top 13, I think it was, down to Albon behind me, starting on the mediums, and then most of the cars behind that starting on the softs, with I think just a couple on the mediums. I think Albon and maybe a couple of others on the mediums, but the rest of the kind of bottom 8, bottom 9 on the soft tyres. We don't get a great run out of that next corner. That allows Hamilton another look up the inside, and once again we're going to try and stick it here though. We're going to try and stay with Hamilton. We're going to battle with these guys as much as we can this season, because I genuinely think we can, and we should be able to, at least later on in the season, battle with the Mercedes, with the Red Bulls and the Ferraris, hopefully later on in the series, but in the season, sorry. But this time around Hamilton manages to get us, and we're actually under a little bit of pressure from the Latifi and Magnussen behind, the two soft tyre runners, the two highest soft tyre runners at the moment. There's a yellow flag behind us though, and I think that's Magnussen, who actually has a little bit of a moment around the final corner, and that'll give us a little bit of breathing room from him, but still it's fairly tense at the start of this race. As we have a look at the start once again from the front, Carlos Sainz got a great run on his teammate Charles Leclerc into turn 1, and he leads through turn 1, through turn 2, and that is a great start from Sainz, from second on the grid into the lead. And also the two Red Bulls behind, Lance Stroll has managed to get ahead of Max Verstappen at the start, and he now runs P3. So a great start from Lance Stroll there. Maybe this is a season where he can show what he's made of in that Red Bull after being dominated by his teammate last season. Alex Albon doing a decent enough job here on the medium tyres, but lap 3, round turn 4, he goes for a spin, bit too much throttle around that corner, and that's going to cost him, drop him to the back of the field. Very unfortunate for Albon there, just a bit too much throttle applied at that point in time. We kind of find ourselves behind behind Hamilton and Ocon in this train here, with quite a bit of pressure from Latifi behind. Bit of a further gap back to Magnussen and my teammate Lando Norris, but yeah, we do have the soft tyre runner of Latifi behind us putting on some pressure. Albon, though, after that spin, is finding his way back through the order, gets past Schwartzman, who I've heard over the radio has a mechanical issue, so has fallen down to last place. And now Albon trying to make a move on Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. He's got a good run on him, and he's got DRS as well, and he's going to go around the outside of turn 4, the corner where he had that spin a few laps ago, but he gets a beautiful move around the outside. Remember as well, Albon's on the mediums, Vettel's on the softs, so great result from him there, although I think the softs will be starting to go off around about now, and you will expect those guys to be coming in pretty soon as we continue on. And yeah, we're starting to, well, there's a big gap between Latifi and Magnussen. Magnussen obviously having a bit of an issue on those soft tyres going off now. He's under threat from Norris. We're just kind of hooked up behind Hamilton at the moment in this DRS train. Looking at the two Red Bulls in third and fourth, well, Stroll has managed to hold on for third for these first 9 laps, but now Verstappen is going to go for a move around the outside of turn 1, but Stroll is going to fight this. There's no team orders at Red Bull here at the moment, and Verstappen has a big slide round turn 2 there, and Stroll manages to stay ahead at the moment. So Stroll doing a great job at the moment in that Red Bull, defending from the defending world champion there, his teammate Verstappen. We continue on. Sorry if you can hear my dog snoring. He's just next to me and he is snoring rather loudly, so I apologize for that if you can hear it. We are just kind of stuck, and in the end actually lose DRS to Hamilton up ahead because we just don't quite have the pace. The two McLarens, like I said, doing a great job here. Bottas, I think, outqualified Ricciardo, but Ricciardo's managed to get ahead of him at the start. But it is Ricciardo P5, Bottas P6, a McLaren 5.6, considering they're the 6th quickest car on the grid on R&D. Pretty good result for them, and it would be great if they could, well, great for them, not great for us, if they convert that in this race. The two Ferraris, though, I mean, it is 2 by 2 by 2. 2 Ferraris from 2 Red Bulls, from 2 McLarens. And it's still Carlos Sainz at the moment leading the way. Charles Leclerc, though, is definitely not messing around. He's right there behind him within DRS, within half a second for the majority, pretty much all of this race so far, well within a second. And he's putting pressure. He's gaining on Sainz, but in the end, can't quite do anything at the moment. We come in on lap number 14 onto 15 for our set of hard compound tyres. It's a good pit stop from the team. We come out inside Pierre Gasly in the end there, just looking back to see what the hell was going on there. Gasly was ahead of Ocon and Hamilton, and I think Russell as well. Well, Russell hasn't come in for to pit yet. He'll be coming around next lap, but he's obviously had an issue in the pits there. We had a little bit of a look on Ocon as he was rather slow around turn 1, but in the end we have to settle for, at the moment, P12, but we'll gain a couple of positions when some other guys come in. Looking at Gasly's pit stop here, it was very slow getting the front left tyre off. That is what cost him all those positions. It's cost him like 4 positions in this race at the moment, and we managed to gain a position and are actually up into P10 because of that. Lando Norris came into the pit the lap after us. He comes out of the pit and just about misses out on getting past Nicholas Latifi, but now Latifi and Norris on the same set of tyres, both on hard tyres, and Latifi's a few laps newer, so Norris is a few laps newer, so hoping that Norris can make a move on Latifi here. And it's been a change at McLaren as well, as Bottas came in a lap later than Ricciardo, but has managed to jump him in the pits. I don't know if Ricciardo had an issue in the pits, or whether he had some traffic on his in lap or his out lap or something, or I imagine his out lap. But yeah, Bottas now back to being the lead McLaren once again. So that may be interesting for those guys running in such good positions at the moment. We are kind of still struggling here. Gasly putting a lot of pressure on us behind. We're just having to deploy as much ERS as we can here, and unfortunately still not within DRS of Ocon and Hamilton up ahead, and we don't really seem to be gaining on them unless we absolutely drain the battery. But if we do that, we're not going to have any battery. We're not going to be able to defend from Gasly, so I'm having to play it a little bit smart at the moment, and it's proving difficult because our car really is not great here. At the front, the two Ferraris still battling it out, but Leclerc just can't quite get close enough to do anything on Sainz. So Sainz still leads the way at the moment. We continue on, lap number 19. We've still got Ocon and Hamilton ahead, Gasly behind, but we're going to hear something we probably don't want to hear.
Looks like we might have an issue. Hang in there, we're attempting to manage it. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 1.7 seconds.
We have an issue, apparently. The team's telling us we have an issue. We don't want to hear that. Last time that happened was in Imola, I think, last season, where we had a mechanical failure and a DNF. It happened in Bahrain last season. We didn't finish the race. We only did 4 laps. We've got 20 laps into the race here, but it's still not going to work.
Looks critical. Find somewhere to retire as soon as possible. We can't risk it carrying on with this race, I'm afraid.
Because the car goes up in smoke once again here in Bahrain. We got a damn sight further than we did in Season 2 last time out. 20 laps instead. Well, we only just got onto lap 20, but 20 laps instead of 4 laps. but it's a mechanical failure for us. We are out of the race. We were looking to potentially score 1 point at least here today, but in the end, it is not to be.
What a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today and a stunning win for Ferrari.
So Carlos Sainz holds on to the race win, makes it a Ferrari 1-2 to kick off this season. That's what he would have wanted to have, although he did, I'm pretty sure, win Bahrain Season 1 and unfortunately lost the championship to Leclerc in the final round of the season in Season 1, so he's going to be hoping that he can stay ahead this time around. But Leclerc does come home at P2, and Verstappen does in the end get past Stroll for P3, but still a great result from Stroll here because he does end up in P4, so it's a good race from Lance Stroll. Ricciardo gets back ahead of Bottas for P5, and then unfortunately Lando Norris, he gets past Latifi, but he doesn't quite manage to get past Gasly, so it's P11 for Norris. He actually only ended up about a second behind Gasly, so another couple of laps. Norris may have scored a point for us, but unfortunately not. We end up DNFing. Yuki Tsunoda also has a DNF this race. And in the Constructors' Championship, well, Ferrari lead the way, Red Bull second, McLaren up there in third, Mercedes fourth, Alpine fifth, AlphaTauri sixth with that 1 point from Gasly. And then we are the first of the non-point scorers here, but we were looking to score 1 point here today, but unfortunately it was not to be. Another mechanical failure in Bahrain. This track just does not seem to like us. But yeah, let's hope for a better race in Jeddah next time out, Saudi Arabia. Of course, last season we had a DNF there as well, so we're definitely not wanting that this season around. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.